today we are going to be upgrading my NFL team for every single touchdown I score, starting from the worst NFL team last year to the last year's Super Bowl champions. We are going in the order of last year's NFL standings, and over the course of the season, I might make this a series and update this every single week of the 2022 NFL season. But we begin with the worst team from last year, and that is the Jacksonville Jaguars, who finished 3-14, and honestly, I think the Jaguars are going to be a way better team this year. I can see them getting 6, 7, maybe even 8 wins. Their division isn't very good. You have the Colts and the Titans that are the best 2 teams in the division, but they're not like amazing teams by any means. So I think the Jags can have a really good improvement. I think they're definitely better than the Houston Texans. I could see 6+ wins for this team, and you're going to see a lot of the teams that finished last year at the bottom are due for a better season this year. And there's Chenault making a really good catch. Can he keep going? He cannot. The Jags signed a guy like Christian Kirk. They paid a lot of guys a lot of money. The Jags pulled out the checkbook this year to get some really good players, and there's Christian Kirk on arcade mode making a really nice catch. They made some improvements on both sides of the ball, so I definitely see the Jags being better, and I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a good sophomore season compared to what he had his rookie season, and he's going to get his man Travis Etienne this year from Clemson. I think they'll have a really good year. The Lions are another team I think can have a really solid season. They made improvements on both sides of the ball. You have Jared Goff's second year in that system. Amon-Ra St. Brown is due for a better season this year than he had last year, and he was really good for this team last year. TJ Hawkinson, they have a solid tight end. I think they'll have a really solid season. Got Aiden Hutchinson with the #2 overall pick. 6 or 7 wins I could see for the Lions as well, kind of like the Jags. Let's try TJ Hawkinson. Let's try him on arcade mode. TJ Hawkinson might be the most interesting animation for a touchdown we see all day. As for my New York Giants, a team I am a fan of, I don't think they're going to be very good this year. I had hopes for the Jags and hopes for the Lions, but I don't have much hope for my New York Giants. Barkley, who catches the ball right here, is going to score this touchdown. He's the only bright spot I can see on this offense. Galladay, shell of himself, not the Lions receiver he once was. You have Sterling Shepard and Tony should be solid, but Daniel Jones is bad. Tyrod Taylor probably was going to get the starting job if he didn't get injured. The defense should be solid, but I don't think they're going to surprise anybody. Texans, kind of that same thing as the Giants. I mean, I don't think they're going to be as bad as the Giants, and the Giants are going to be worse. The Texans, though, are going to be one of the worst teams in the league. They're a few years away from being competitive, in my opinion. You have Brandon Cooks, you have one good receiver, you have Davis Mills, who's I think his second year in the league. He wasn't horrible last year, but he's not a top tier quarterback, not even probably a middle of the pack quarterback. And if you want to win in the NFL, you need at least a top half quarterback in this league to win anything. You do have this rookie Dameon Pierce, though, who I've heard a lot of good things about. He's showing out in the preseason right now, so he's like their one bright spot on offense. You never know, though. I guess any team could surprise anybody on a given Sunday, but I see the Texans probably picking in the top 5 next year in the draft. I don't think they're going to be very, very good, but again, teams surprise you here and there. You have no idea with the NFL. It's just one given Sunday. You can go on a streak. You never know. You could win a few games in a row. Can we score this touchdown, though? What's that double move in the end zone? I don't know, but Moore's going to catch that. But let me know in the comments, guys. Is this a series you want me to take into the regular season? Like I said, every single week we would update this. Let's say the records after week 1, the power rankings that ESPN might drop, Bleacher Report. I'll take those and I'll bring them into Madden. We'll talk about the games every single week. I think it'll be a cool video to make like every Tuesday. Let me know in the comments if you want to see that. We just talk football here, talk about the best games of the week, talk about the teams that are absolutely embarrassing themselves. But we have the Jets here. Braxton Berrios, no, Tre'Davious White with a pick. But I haven't looked in a little bit with Zach Wilson. Is he going to be starting week 1 or is he injured still? I'm honestly not quite sure what the deal is with him. So if he's starting, they should be decent. I can see the Jets winning like 6, maybe 7 games. I don't think they're going to be great this year, but give them another year or 2. They have some young pieces. I like the coaching staff over there. I think they'll be good in a few years over there for the New York Jets. Definitely better than the Giants. It's better to be a Jets fan right now, in my opinion, than a Giants fan, but I think they're still a couple of years away from competing. They're not the Bills, they're not the Dolphins. Maybe they can get a win over the Patriots this year. I think the Pats are going to be amazing, but we score. Now, this is a team I'm super excited to watch this year because I honestly cannot predict their season because their ceiling can be so high as like a playoff, borderline playoff team, but their floor could be like top 5 in the draft next year because you have to see how Baker's going to play. If Baker gives them good quarterback play, and I do think Baker's going to be decent for them, they can almost make the playoffs, but you're also going to need Christian McCaffrey to stay healthy. If CMC is not healthy, that changes the entire offense for this team. So he has to stay on the field. DJ Moore, very underrated as a #1 receiver in this league. He just needs good quarterback play to show you what he can really do. There's a catch for him right here, and he's going to find the end zone. But their defense is so good in Carolina. They have such a stacked roster. It's just the quarterback. Darnold was terrible. Cam Newton wasn't great the last few games he played over the last few years. Baker's good. You guys can make the playoffs. If you're a Bears fan this year, honestly, I don't really know what there is to get excited about. I truthfully don't know. Justin Fields as his second year in the league, maybe a little excitement over that, but who is he throwing the ball to? I like Mooney. That's just about it. Cole Kmet's a solid tight end, but the rest of the wide receiver room, not very good. David Montgomery's a solid running back. The offensive line isn't great. This team, I just don't see how they're not going to be like a top 3 pick in the draft next year. I just don't have high hope for the Bears. They're going to get owned by the Packers once again. I know Bears fans are sick of that at this point, but I just don't think they're going to be very good. I think the Lions are going to be better than you guys in the NFC North, and I really like the Vikings this year, so I don't think you win maybe more than one game in the division. I would say you split with the Lions, you lose both games to the Vikings and Packers. There's a dot by Justin Fields, though. With the Seahawks, I don't know how they're not picking top 5 in the draft. Same thing as the Bears next year. I mean, what is there really to get excited about? You got Metcalf and Lockett, 2 elite wide receiver options, but who's throwing the ball? Geno Smith looks like he's going to be the starting quarterback for this team, but the competition is still going on. It could be Drew Lock. Like, who's really throwing the ball? No more Russell Wilson. No more Bobby Wagner. I mean, this Seahawks team is completely different from what we've seen the last few years. Definitely going to be like a bottom 5 team in the league. Funny enough, right after the Seahawks, we have the Broncos. Speaking of Russell Wilson, this Broncos team, if they weren't in a stacked AFC West division, I would say they would definitely make the playoffs this year, but it's going to be tough. This AFC West is going to be an absolute slugfest. You have the Chargers, Justin Herbert, elite quarterback. You have the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, elite quarterback. You have Derek Carr for the Raiders. I wouldn't say quite elite, but a very good quarterback. I would say top tier for sure, top half, maybe top 12 to top 10 for Derek Carr. If he's really, really good this season, you can make that argument for top 10. But this division is going to be absolutely stacked. But with Russell Wilson, the Broncos have a chance to make the playoffs here, and we're going to go to the end zone, and it's going to be broken up, but I'm excited to see this team. I don't know who's going to be the #1 receiver for this team. I got my fantasy draft tomorrow. When you guys are seeing this, I probably would have already drafted in fantasy. I don't know if I want Sutton or if I want Judy if I have the chance to take them. I think I might go Cortland Sutton, though. Real quick before we get back to the video, everyone, only about 6% of the people watching this video right now actually subscribe, so if you're enjoying the content you're seeing, make sure to subscribe to the channel, but let's get back to the video. Falcons, I don't really know what to think. You have Kyle Pitts is going into his second year. He's going to be elite. Cordero Patterson's getting a little bit older, so he's not going to get quite that workload that he got last year. Drake London, rookie wide receiver. No Calvin Ridley this year. He's suspended. I don't really know what to expect, and Mariota hasn't started in a few years, so I don't really know what to expect from this Falcons team. I think they'll be an exciting team to watch. The Falcons always have great games because they score a lot of points, they choke a lot of leads, they actually get a decent amount of comebacks too, but that was with Matt Ryan. No more Matt Ryan. He was usually clutch late in games, but we'll have to see what Mariota or Ritter can do. Is it Ritter? Desmond Ritter, right, I believe, is the rookie that they drafted, but Cordero gets in the end zone. Let's get a kick return touchdown. I haven't tried to bring one out yet. Let's see if we can do it. Duvernay for the Ravens! Duvernay! The Ravens are going to have a bounce-back season this year. They have a lot of guys coming back from injury. They had a ton of players injured last year, but this year, they should be fully healthy once they get Dobbins back at the running back position as well. They're going to be elite. Lamar's going to have a really good season. I expect big things from the Ravens this year. As for the Washington Commanders, new team name, new jerseys, all that good stuff, and a new quarterback as well, Carson Wentz. Another team, I don't really know what to expect from them. I mean, the NFC East is absolutely horrible every single year, and no one ever repeats as NFC East champion. Now, we have the Eagles that I would say have the best chance to take that from the Cowboys to stop them from repeating from being NFC East champions, but the Commanders, you can't sleep on them. They have a really good defense. They have really good players on offense as well, as long as they get good quarterback play, kind of like the Panthers. The Browns are up next. Now, if they had Watson, I would say they could probably finish second or third in the AFC North, but without Deshaun Watson for 11 games, I don't see how they don't finish in last place. I like Nick Chubb. They can definitely run the ball with Hunt and Chubb. You have Amari Cooper is going to be a solid receiver for Jacoby Brissett to throw the ball to. You have Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward. They have a solid roster, but without a quarterback, man, a tough AFC North division with the Ravens, Steelers, and the AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals from last year. It's going to be tough. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be tough for Browns fans for 11 games. Can we find the end zone here? Yes, we can. But what do you think about the Browns? Now we have the Minnesota Vikings, and I really do think it's their year in the NFC North. I can't see them losing it. I know Aaron Rodgers in the NFC North, but I just cannot see the Vikings not winning. The Packers have no good receivers whatsoever. Their running back room for the Packers is going to be good. but the Vikings are a better roster besides Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the quarterback is super important, but who's Rodgers throwing the ball to? You have Jefferson, Thielen, Dalvin Cook. This is a better offense. The Saints I'm conflicted on here. They could be good, they could be bad. You got Michael Thomas coming back. I think Kamara is going to get suspended this year. You have a ton of pieces on the defensive end. You have Cameron Jordan, you have Marshawn Lattimore. They signed Tyrann Mathieu. They have a lot of great pieces. They have Demario Davis. A lot of great pieces on the defense. I'm not worried about the defense. It's the offense, and again, quarterback play. You're going to see what a good amount of these teams, quarterback play is going to be super important. When they have the good rosters, they have Michael Thomas, they have Chris Olave, the rookie, you have Alvin Kamara, like I said. It's going to come down to Jameis. Does he turn the ball over? Does he just play it smart and get the ball to his playmakers and then let the defense play? That's what he needs to do if they want to win. There's Jarvis Landry. I forgot about him. Jarvis Landry's on this team. I mean, this roster's stacked this year. The Bucs might not run away with the NFC South. They might not. The Saints have a stacked roster. They really, really do. With Kamara, MT, Jarvis Landry. Now, he's not Dolphins Jarvis Landry, but he's still a really good wide receiver in this league. And then you're going to have the rookie, like I said, Olave. For the Colts, they got a new quarterback and Matt Ryan's new team up against Matt Ryan's old team. The ending for the season last year for the Colts was so bad. Beat the Jaguars, the worst team in the league, and you get into the playoffs. And they lose, and they get blown out. It wasn't even a game. Couldn't believe what I was watching last year. I cannot believe that. That's a dot to Michael Pittman Jr., who I think is going to have a breakout season. Broke out a little bit last year, but this is going to be his wide receiver one season. I think the Colts can win this division. What are the Dolphins going to be this year? Are they going to be ridiculously good with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle? I think they will be. I don't think Tua is going to be a problem. I truly don't. Some people, you know, they're sleeping on his arm. They're saying he's going to hit Tyreek Hill 10 yards short. He's got to come back for the ball. He's not Patrick Mahomes. We all know he's not Patrick Mahomes. But this team should be really good. I talked about the Colts' choke job at the end of the season last year and not make the playoffs. The Chargers was worse. They're playing the Raiders. And what are you doing calling a timeout when the Raiders were going to knee the ball out and you both make the playoffs? How do you sell that hard as a coach? What was that? I don't know what I was watching. I thought they were going to tie and the Steelers weren't going to make the playoffs. The Chargers choked. They didn't even have to choke. I don't know why they did that. The Eagles have the best chance to dethrone the Cowboys in the NFC East. It's not going to be a stacked NFC East once again. I don't think either of these teams are going to be Super Bowl winning teams, but they got A.J. Brown this year. They have a #1 receiver to go with DeVonta Smith, who's going to score this touchdown. They're going to be a run-first team. I think Jalen Hurts is a solid quarterback. I don't think he's an elite quarterback, and they have a good defense. I think they should be decent. So I simulate the beginning of these games to get to the offensive part, and the Eagles got the ball first, and my defense made a stop in Steelers fashion. I expect their defense to be very, very good. So you know what? We got a 1-yard run for Najee Harris for the easiest touchdown that we scored all video, but I would pull the trigger on Kenny Pickett. I don't think they named him the starter yet. If they did, let me know in the comments. I might not have seen it, but he should be the starter. The Raiders in that AFC West division, like I said, absolutely stacked. They made the playoffs last year. Now you got Devontae. They have an excellent offensive weapons, though. They have excellent offensive weapons. Devontae Adams going to headline that group of him. Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow. Their offensive line, I don't believe, is the best from what I've seen. Josh Jacobs still a solid running back. Their defense is solid as well. I think they have a chance to make the playoffs. Patriots got destroyed in the playoffs last year by the Bills. That was the best playoff game I've ever seen from one team. I think, what, they go 5 or 6, maybe even more perfect drives with touchdowns in a row for Josh Allen and the Bills. That's ridiculous. The Patriots, I don't know. I think the Dolphins are better than them. I would say the Dolphins are a better roster than the Patriots. They have way more offensive pieces. I like Tua. I would say he's a little bit better than Mac Jones. So I like the Patriots, but I don't like them as much as the Dolphins, and definitely not as much as the Bills. So I would say they should be the 3rd place team in this division. The Jets maybe surprise them. Maybe the Patriots end up 4th. I don't see that happening, but we'll see what happens with the Patriots. But they're definitely not in Tom Brady, Bill Belichick form anymore. Their Super Bowl window has well closed. Before we get into the Cardinals, forgot to mention, so we're in the playoff teams now that made the playoffs last year. So it's not going off standings anymore because the Bengals were 10-7, but they made the Super Bowl. So they're going to be the 2nd and last team that we do here, obviously, because they made the Super Bowl. So we're doing right now everybody that got eliminated inside of that wild card round. But speaking of the wild card round, the Cardinals played a horrible game. I don't know what happens to the Cardinals in the second half of the season every single year, But hopefully that doesn't happen this year, because I would like to see the Cardinals be pretty solid in the playoffs with Kyler Murray, Hollywood Brown, DeAndre Hopkins. But they played horrible against the Rams last year in that game. The Cowboys should be scoring a lot of points. Their offense should be good, but they are a little weak at wide receiver. You have this guy, CeeDee Lamb, who's going to be absolutely elite for this team. I'm looking for an insane season out of CeeDee Lamb. I think he's going to cement himself as a top 5 or 6 receiver in the league after this year. They're going to just be funneling him targets. Who else are they going to throw the ball to? No Michael Gallup to start the season. He's injured. No more Cedric Wilson. No more Amari Cooper. Zeke isn't what he used to be. So Dak's going to be throwing CeeDee the ball every single play, basically. Let's get a touchdown for Diggs. Allen to Diggs. Inside leverage. Nice and easy here for the Bills. Speaking of Tom Brady, you can never count the man out. He'll surprise you every single time. He's made the Super Bowl every other year, if I want to say like the last 8 years. Since he won that Super Bowl against the Seahawks, he's made the Super Bowl every other year. Do you understand how crazy that is? That is absolutely ridiculous. So you can never count out Tom Brady. He's coming back for probably, I would say this is going to be his last year for sure. There's Chris Godwin, and we get a touchdown. For the Packers, I don't think they're going to be the best team in the NFC North, like I said already with the Vikings. I mean, who is he throwing the ball to? I like Sammy Watkins. I like Allen Lazard. They're solid receivers, but they're no Davante Adams. They're no elite receiver on this team for the Packers. The Packers don't have an elite receiver. Aaron Rodgers always chokes in the playoffs, too. So how are they going to win this year when they have a worse team and no Davante? Let the Trey Lance era begin in San Francisco. They keep Jimmy Garoppolo as a backup quarterback, but now it's Trey Lance's team. What are we thinking about Trey Lance, guys? What are we thinking about Trey Lance, guys? McLeod, that was an easy kick return. I didn't even get that hype. I just kind of ran straight and got it. I want to score with Trey Lance, though, so I'm not going to put this one in. Or maybe the Debo package. Let's see what we can do. But what are we expecting out of Trey Lance this year? What are we thinking? Is he going to have a great rookie season? Is he going to lead this 49ers team to a Super Bowl? I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo led him to an NFC Championship game and a Super Bowl. So, I mean, if you're going to bring in this rookie quarterback, you're going to trade all those picks for him, you better bring it to the Super Bowl. 3 more teams to go, and give me your top 3 teams. Comment question of the day for the NFL season this year. AFC, NFC, give me your top 3 teams going into this season. If I had to say it right now, I would say Bills. I would say Rams. Very easy picks right there. The Bills, I would say, they're AFC favorite, and the Rams win the Super Bowl. And who should we go? I'm going to say Chargers. Let's go Chargers for 3. So I do think the Chargers are going to win the AFC West this year. I think the Chiefs won't be too far behind, but I think the Chargers have a stacked roster. J.C. Jackson they have Khalil Mack now, Joey Bosa, Derwin James. Great defense right there. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler. Well, this Chiefs teams are still the Chiefs. They won the AFCS for so many years in a row. They've made the AFC Championship game, I think, 4 years in a row. They've made 2 Super Bowls, 1 championship. You can't count them out. For the Bengals, do they have a chance to go back to the Super Bowl this year? They had a great year last year. I think they only got better. We'll see what happens. There's Jamar Chase on the easiest touchdown that he's going to score in his career. But we're going to see a gritty in this video. We are going to see a gritty for Jamar Chase. That's my favorite thing about Madden 23. Is that weird that we can see the gritty? And last but certainly not least, we have the reigning, defending Super Bowl champion, Los Angeles Rams, and you have Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, who are poised for another great season together. We'll have to see what happens with Matthew Stafford's shoulder injury. We'll see if that plays a role, but I definitely think they're poised for a repeat. The NFC isn't that stacked, way less than the AFC. I like the Rams to make it back to the Super Bowl. You have the Bucks, the Packers, the Vikings, but I think they are a favorite to go back. That's gonna do it for the video, everyone. If you enjoyed it, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new. In the comments down below, let me know what challenge, what video do you want to see next. Peace.